Jai Nityalila Pravishto Vishnupad Paramahansas Tatara Sata Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Nityalila Pravishto Vishnupad Paramahansas Tatara Sata Shri Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Nityalila Pravishto Vishnupad Paramahansas Tatara Sata Shri Srimad Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Nityalila Pravishto Vishnupad Paramahansas Tatara Sata Shri Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Mahabhagavad Srila Gaur Kishore Das Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Srila Sachidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai Vaishnava Sarvabhaum Shri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Shri Gaudiya Vedanta Charya Baladev Vijibhushan Prabhu Ki Jai Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Ki Jai Srila Narottam Srinivas Shyamananda Prabhu Trai Ki Jai Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath Sara Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai Srila Sarup Damodar Roy Ramananda Adi Gaur Parshada Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Sikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Navadvitam Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Go Govardhan Dvara Shavanatmaka Shri Braj Mandala Dham Ki Jai Shri Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Yamuna Ganga Tulsi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Shri Jagannath Baludev Subhadra Sudarshan Chakra Jiv Ki Jai Shri Jagannath Puri Kurushottam Kshetra Dham Ki Jai Shri Bhakti Vignavinashana Shri Nishinga Bhagavan Ki Jai Bhakta Prabhu Shri Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jai Charodam Charo Sampradaya Charo Acharya Ki Jai Akara Mataraj Shri Chaitanya Mat Ki Jai Urananya Shakamat Samoha Ki Jai Shri Vishva Vaishnava Sabha Ki Jai Ananta Goti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Tribhuvana Pavana Harinam Sankirtana Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jataha Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahabhadanyaya Krishna Prema Pridayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gaura Tishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatapate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Bhaktya Vihina Aparadha Lakshay Kshiptascha Kamadi Taranga Madhye Kripa Maitvam Sharanam Prapanna Vrinde Namaste Charanarvindam Brindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavasya Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavachai Namo Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So first of all, I'm offering my unlimited Dandavat Pranams and my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipable beloved Gurudev, Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Asto Tarasata Sri Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada. And then I'm offering my same unlimited Dandavat Pranams and my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipable beloved Siksha Gurudevs, Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Asto Tarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj and Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Asto Tarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. I'm offering my Dandavat Pranams to the lotus feet of all of my Sri Rupa Nuga Guru Varga. And I'm offering my Dandavat Pranams to all the Vaishnavas and all the Vaishnavis. So yesterday's class we went a little into this chapter, which is titled Krishna and the Gopis. And Srila Gurudev was explaining in the beginning of the chapter how thus far in his lectures up to this point, he has explained the essence of some of the pastimes of Krishna. And now he says, now I am going to tell some very secret pastimes. But then he says, first of all, you should know. Before I'm telling these pastimes, you should know who Krishna is. And you should know that he is not a worldly boyfriend, and Srimati Radhika is not a worldly girlfriend. Their most elevated love, it is not material lust. Their love is beyond the touch of all bodily senses and even beyond the mind. So, then we heard a few different shlokas Gurudev quoted in this context because he's now preparing everyone to hear what? The secret pastimes of Krishna. And what are those? Krishna's pastimes with the gopis. So this is not a subject matter that can just be spoken to anybody and everybody. Some adhikar is required to hear these pastimes. And Gurudev is saying, first of all, he quoted a verse from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which is actually the definition verse of the term rasa. What is rasa? This is a verse that I want to commit to my memory. It's so beautiful of a verse. And I told yesterday that I want to find the synonyms. I understand a good amount of the words that are used here, but it's just such an incredible verse. I'm reading it to you. Vyatitya bhavana vartma. Vyatitya bhavana vartma yash chamatkara bharabu. Chamatkara bharabu. Hridi satvojvala badham. Hridi satvojvala badham. Svadate sa raso mataha. Svadate sa raso mataha. So, here is a very nice translation. But really, you can only tell so much in the English translation. So he's telling, Rupa Goswami is telling that rasa is the miraculous staibhav, permanent emotion. You know what staibhav is, right? What is staibhav? Staibhav means your permanent relationship with Krishna, which is of 5 different types. Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, Madhurya. So, in the definition of rasa, the first principle is that this staibhav, here the term miraculous is used. This permanent emotion, how we will love Krishna in a certain relationship. So, rasa is the miraculous staibhav, the permanent emotion, which is the veritable repository of wonder. Here, chamatkara bharabu. That's being translated. Chamatkar, like we have a book by Gurudev, Chamatkar Chandrika, right? So what does chamatkar mean? It means astonishing, astonishing. So here, it is telling this miraculous staibhav, which is the veritable repository of wonder, and which is experienced after the practitioner crosses beyond the path of contemplation. So what does that mean? Contemplation means in the stages of remembering, smaran, varandasha, and ultimately attaining the complete absorption in the stage of sampati dasha, attaining one's ultimate goal of life and being completely absorbed in Krishna. So, but this rasa, this condition of rasa, it is experienced after the practitioner crosses beyond the path of contemplation. This is not just a mental exercise any longer. It is relished in the heart that has become radiant. Now here's the term hridi, means heart, sattva ujvala, radiant. Ujvala means radiant. Ujvala nilamani means radiant, shining. So this rasa is relished in the heart that has become radiant from being thoroughly and completely refined by what? Pure, unalloyed, transcendental existence, Shuddha Sattva. Here it says, Hridi Sattva Ujvale Badham. The heart has become Ujvala by Sattva. Sattva means pure transcendental goodness, pure spiritual existence, not material Sattva, Rajas. So the heart has become thoroughly and completely refined. by this pure, unalloyed, transcendental existence, Shuddha Sattva. So, there are so many different terminologies within this one verse, so many things to understand what constitutes this experience called rasa. And certainly, Srila Gurudev is quoting, understand that no one can experience it until they have become like this. So, Gurudev is going on and he says that the love of Radha and Krishna is beyond the touch of all bodily senses and even beyond the mind. No speculation can touch them. No mental speculation can touch them, Radha and Krishna. And that is why Krishna is called Adhokshaja Tattva or Aprakrita Tattva. So yesterday we discussed these two terms quite extensively. Adhokshaja and range of the senses, mind, intelligence. Krishna's name is Adhokshaja. But that Adhokshaja Tattva, it is the realm that no conditioned soul can enter. One has to become purified. So, Gurudev says, this is an encouraging statement that he makes here. If we have even a seed of transcendental Shraddha, faith, he says, then we can gradually understand all these truths, all these tattvas. He says, all kinds of lust, it will go away. And tattva, pure transcendence, will come. So that's what we are here for. We are here for that. Our whole life is for this. He says that we can then realize these truths when this condition comes, realization. You're not qualified to speak on them or to hear them. But then he says, still, here comes the clincher. Still, for senior devotees, I am telling something. So Gurudev was here, 1999, and he specified that why is he going in this direction? Why is his preaching mission? Was to bring that topic, Harikatha, which now the certain section of the devotee community in the West, they have been practicing at that time, by 1996, some had been practicing for 30 years, 25 years, trying, making the attempt. But Gurudev's mission was to now, until someone hears that subject, these subject matters, they will not be able to cross. That's why Gurudev said there is a critical stage the devotees must hear this. And that was his mission, to come and give that. That was what Srila Prabhupada requested him to do, right? Help my disciples. To do what? Obviously, for them to go to the next levels. Siksha Guru is required for this. Without Siksha Guru, it's not possible. Without hearing from elevated Vaishnavas. And especially if one is so fortunate to hear from a Rasik Vaishnava, who's actually in that level, stage, then it is the most beneficial and helpful for the devotees. And, Gurudev's mission, he specified this, that he has come to give all these necessary literatures that need to be read by the devotees in this stage. And of course, all of them are the beginning. But they should carefully hear. So this is Gurudev's introduction to this chapter. Now Gurudev is stressing the point that first, you should know that Krishna is Bhagavan. He is Bhagavan. That we must know. I was thinking about this today, and if I asked to any of the devotees, who is Krishna? What would you answer? Who is Krishna? Huh?
The Supreme God person.
Yes. Right? And then if I asked you in response to that, to your answer, if I asked you, well, how do you know? How do you know? How do you know? Like any person on the street can also ask you that. So what will you answer? How do you know that he's Supreme Personality of Godhead? How do you know that Krishna is that? So now I'm asking you, anyone here, how do you know?
He's endowed with all
Jai Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandhara Hari Radha Govinda. Yeah? He's what?
Krishna is endowed with all transcendental qualities in full.
Well, how do you know? Transcendental qualities. How do you know that Krishna is that supreme being? Huh? Here comes the first principle of what? Dasmal Tattva. The 10 essential principles of Mahaprabhu's philosophy. You can read it, one chapter each in Jaiva Dharma. This is the first verse summarizing all the 10 principles. Amnaya praha tattvam. That means Amnaya has said 9 tattvas. But the first tattva is Amnaya. So there is 2 different aspects of the 10 principles. One is called Praman. Praman. What does Praman mean? What? Evidence. Praman. Evidence. And the other 9 principles are called Prameya. What does that mean? That which is proved by the Praman. Without Praman, nobody can come to any conclusions. It's all speculation, which is what we basically see in the material world. People speculate, concoct, even religious ideologies and philosophical and everything. So not all. Which parts of the Vedas are accepted? Evidence. That which is accepted by our line of pure realized acharyas. What they have accepted is called Amnaya. So, Srila Prabhupada came to the Western countries and he began to preach about Krishna. We can even hear his early Bhagavad Gita. He did not say all these things. He convinced and showed the people what is the authority from whom he's getting all of this. Very much Srila Prabhupada was stressing Bhagavad Gita. Because Bhagavad Gita is accepted even outside of India by scholars and so forth as being very, very high level knowledge. So Prabhupada, as he could complete, he came up to the 10th canto in those years. The 10th canto, just in case he would not be able to remain in this world. So he gave the basis, right? And many devotees became quite well trained in Siddhanta, understanding the actual Siddhanta, the conclusive truths of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy, and could preach, and could lecture. They are the apostles. They are the ones through whom Mahaprabhu distributed all of this knowledge. He didn't write any books, but he distributed through his immediate disciples, the 6 Goswamis. And then that Guru Parampara coming down from them. There is no comparison anywhere in this world. In universities, scholars, professors, different fields of knowledge, Oriental studies, whatever. No comparison. So we are in the beginning phases of that. We have to understand where we are in history. This is the beginning phase of Mahaprabhu's movement going everywhere. And we've taken birth in this era when, in actuality, it was brought to the whole world by the devoted servants of the Rupanuga Guru Varga. And we are so fortunate that the next second wave, namely our Gurudev and various other disciples of the disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and also his direct disciples, they also came. But amongst those, none can compare with Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj in terms of what they present, what they gave. Actually, Srila Gurudev, he will go down, already he's in history, but it will be very clearly understood that this personality was the successor of Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. There's no question, no comparison. And he became the Jagat Guru of the whole world. Other personalities like Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj, also very powerful personality. And there are so many others that one day went by, 1 week went by, or whatever length of time. That is a very great loss, because there's nothing as valuable that we can do with our lives as receiving what has been given by the Acharyas and associating with them. So it can never be stressed enough how important it is to come and to hear. Not only reading on your own, but also hearing. And hearing from persons who have Tattva Gyan, who have knowledge of Tattva. They know Tattva Siddhanta. So Gurudev, in this book, Secret Truths of the Bhagavatam, is now going to lead everyone. That's Gurudev's unique characteristic, but we should not take it cheaply. We should not consider ourselves to be accomplished in this regard. We may have heard, even directly, so many times, but what have we realized? This is the real test. So, if a devotee is always trying to associate with sadhus, sadhu sangha, and in sadhu sangha hearing, and actually I really was thinking that maybe Prabhupada may not accept me. So I have to place my case before him, and I have to request that please, and I explained it as best I could, according to the philosophy. I've been wandering in the material world for millions of lives. Now I finally come. So if you don't accept me as your disciple, what will I do? And so when I came to Detroit, we were in Chicago, and we hitchhiked back to Detroit, where all the devotees had congregated there, like 200 devotees. The biggest gathering I had seen up to that point, all waiting for Prabhupada to arrive. They painted the temple building from top to bottom, made all the ladies were using these stencils and making Hare Krishna temple of that time. Everybody was busy. And then we went to the airport to greet Srila Prabhupada. But when I first arrived, I was handed the letter. And that was a very tense moment for me, because I had to sit down by myself in the corner and open up the letter. And there it was, Prabhupada's telling my name. Classes and kirtans and dramas, and it was overwhelming for everyone, wasn't it? You know? So maybe we should do at least this, hearing every day, studying the Shastras, chanting sincerely, trying to go forward, not staying in the same place, not moving, not falling backwards. And if we're doing something that's not proper, then we should correct that. We should correct that. We should always follow the authorities. Guru Parampara. And those who are senior Vaishnavas, I can't give class because I'm going with Vaikanas down to the valley. But then Friday, and you leave on Saturday, huh? Yeah. Okay, so at least Friday class for you. For those who aren't leaving, come every day. Come every day. It'll be so good for you.
One question.
Yeah, he's about to. Is that okay? Okay. That's a whole class in itself. But to achieve the state of bhav is the goal of our sadhana. And it will be achieved when we have passed through these preliminary stages and gradually developed and become purified and asakti prior to the stage of bhav. Can it be done in this lifetime? That question was asked to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and he said, yes, it can, but there's a stipulation. You will have to absolutely surrender. Then it's possible. But one thing we should know, that stage of bhav is given by Krishna. Even is full of bliss. So Gurudev used to say, I am simply praying that you can achieve ruchi in this life, he said.
Taste.
Ruchi, taste. He says, then you can gallop. He used to say that. When you come and you taste ruchi, then you can gallop like a horse which takes off from the stable. There are a few different behavioral things that change, but the actual process, it is the same for every Vaishnava. Okay? So yes, we can, but we should know that it will take a few lifetimes. But this is the time now when we get our eligibility certificate. We get our passport given to us now in this life. Then Krishna, okay, now you will only have very high births, very high association, and very quickly and very soon you will come to the stage of bhav. And that Shuddha Sattva Visheshatma, that is the stage of bhav. Yeah? But when we become perfected in the stage of bhav, and we're nearing to the